So yeah, years later, because I'm here talking about outdoor arts, years later, having done lots of community events all over the place, no one really cared whether I was doing a community dance project or not, but I loved it. The big dance came along, and that was a real turning point for me, because when I was asked to do the big dance, at that time, the sort of 3 years previous to that, I just felt like nobody. I was a bit lost and didn't really know where I was going with my career. And I connected with a wonderful woman called June Gamble, who is a life coach. And she said, "What do you want?" And I said, "You know, I just want to get more of a creative career going. I feel as if there's too much admin. I can do, so I seem to do everything and haven't got a focus." So when I got the call for the big dance, where I was asked, we're looking for about 14 choreographers. Having done a few coaching sessions, I thought, right, okay, actually, who's going to look after those 14 choreographers? Because there's a lot of ego in the room if you get 14 choreographers. So I decided, so I put my hands up, suggested that I was artistic director, crossed my fingers, and thought I can do community. So even if it is 800 dancers, 44 different dance styles on Trafalgar Square, yeah, I can do it. I can get a team. I know how to do this. So really, that has been, how I've got to this stage where I can just look at anyone in the space here and say, yes, you can, and that's what I love doing. And the main thing is to say, if you go through a process of rehearsing, building your confidence, and putting your voice into a creative idea, that day when you come to perform it, you will not recognize yourself. And that's really special. You will not be the same person again. You will never forget that experience, because it will be a wonderful experience if you commit to it. And then it doesn't matter if you want to be a dancer or not, but you will never forget it. And it's a wonderful feeling when you really excel and you feel proud of yourself, and you're there and you're getting the praise and you feel really good about what you do. And just for the records, because my friends and family continue to say, "Oh yeah, this is Jeanefer, she choreographed the Olympics." Not true. Nobody could have done that. Okay, so it was a team, and I was working as with the mass movement team, and there were 30 of us in just that team, and that was if you were the participants and you were doing the NHS, 7,500. So if you were, actually that was for the opening ceremony. I can't remember exactly for the NHS. It might have been about 1.5, but huge numbers for each letter. And if you actually look at this thing on the floor, this could have been a grid. So everyone has, if this was this image of the window and the lights coming through, that would be the grid that we all had in our hands. Okay, so we call them charts, and we were charting. So, you might say to me, "Where am I standing?" I'd say, "You're in A-2, and you'd have to go and stand in that position." And there'd be someone on the radio saying, "A-2, move to the left a bit to straighten up that N," so it was quite incredible. But yeah, I mean, it was a huge team, and everybody.
And how long were you rehearsing?
26. I was engaged for 26 weeks from auditioning participants right through to the final closing ceremony of the Paralympics. But the main bulk of the rehearsals for the participants for the opening ceremony started in April, and of course it happened in the summer. So yeah, it was quite incredible.
What is your proudest professional moment working in outdoor arts? Which of the pieces do you?
Oh, well, the big dance was always, because it was the first, but years later, right as part of Greenwich+Docklands International Festival, I created a piece called Aim High, which was for 100 young men, and that was part of my Tomorrow's Men project, which is about using dance as a tool to help young men re-engage in their education. So when I came up Canary Wharf and saw all the boys in blue, and it was young men, it was primary school, their teachers, older boys from pupil referral units, the one boy, Tom, who said, "I won't say the word, the F word, I'm not doing this," but actually turned up on the day and did one thing, and it was amazing. And parents saying, I've never seen my child do this before, this is incredible.
Did they go on to do other things?
Well, some did, because some groups already, were already in existence. But that's always been the biggest thing about my biggest frustration about my work is tracking. What difference, I can see the difference during the process. I can see the joy during the performance, but I can't keep a track of all of these young people. But I just think, I know people personally whose lives it's changed, including my own. So I just trust that that's what it's doing, you know.